Well, greetings one and all, and welcome back to another video here with your host Andrew. Today you join me back in the conservatory again, where hopefully the light will really make these fantastic pens shine. Now, the pen which we have got here today to have a look at is from the Italian company Gioia, which translates to joy. I do mention that again later on in the video, just in case you missed this for whatever reason. Anyway, this is a very handsome looking pen, and this particular model is the Alleria Gotta Azzurra, which is a bit of a mouthful for an English person like myself. Anyway, beautiful pen. We've got some Tasha Fukakai Hanada in here. We've got some Graphilo paper, and we'll shortly head over to the table. But before we do that, I do have a question for you. Are there any particular Italian brands out there which are a little less well heard of, which are a favourite of yours? Now, we all know about the Leonardos of the world, the Montegrappas, the Viscontis, and Santini to some extent. But are there any other Italian manufacturers which you don't feel get the limelight? I would be interested to hear your feedback down in the comment section below. So now, without further ado, let's head over to the table and we'll have a closer look at this pen.
Back at the tail end of last year, I was contacted by Grand Vision Pens and was asked if I'd like to review one of their new Gioia pens. To which I responded, yes. Yes, please. This was quite fortuitous actually, as I've been browsing the brand for quite some time. So, the pen arrived quickly, but after my initial gushing over the wonderful acrylics, I was met with my first obstacle. And the pen just didn't want to write. So, well, the pen went back. Fast forward 4 to 5 months, I now have a fully working pen in my hand. Huzzah! Okay, so now let's have a look at the history and brand. Upon my reading of their website, Gioia was formed in 2014, but was very much under the radar in terms of pens they were producing. In fact, I remember spotting the brand right back at the beginning of my Phantom Pen journey, which was in 2019. At this stage, I could not see any stockists for their pens or any real information of where one could potentially purchase their pen from. Okay, so jumping forward to 2022, Gioia has really enjoyed a lot of success in terms of promotion of the brand and, more importantly, getting into retailers. Their catalogue is relatively small, but they do offer a fresh look on the classic Italian pen, utilising sculpted barrels in metal and a whole collection of beautiful Italian acrylics. This pen brand has really gone from strength to strength. According to their brand introduction, they produce ebonite and cellulite pens as well, but I do not see any reference in their catalogue regarding this range. Okay, so that was quite a brief introduction to Gioia. Unfortunately, there isn't, as I said, too much information on their websites, but there we go. So now let's have a look at some of the unboxing elements of this pen. Well, this section will be relatively short again. The pen is presented in a very nice Delta-like fashion box, in that we've got an hourglass piece of foam protecting the pen on the inside. There's not a huge amount of companies other than Delta and now Mayora which really offers this, and I think even they're moving away from that sort of format. But anyway, the packaging is very simple. We've got some nice logos on the front of the box, and the box is very contemporary and certainly not overly large. The contents are your usual affair with just a simple care guide. Interestingly, I noticed that upon receiving the pen, there wasn't any pen sleeve over top of the pen, so yeah, take that as you will. Anyway, I do like the magnetic closure of the box, and when you lift the lid to reveal the pen, I have to say your first impressions will be quite pleasant. Right, so let's have a look at the practicality elements of this pen. Piston lovers will either love or hate this pen depending on if you regard having an ink window as an essential. Now, I will note that Gioia now do offer a pen with an ink window, so you could always have a look at that if you so wish. Anyway, this pen does retail for £135 and it's made in Italy, features a piston, and to be honest, it's pretty remarkable. So kudos for Gioia for including a piston on £135 pen. It's not really something which you see a lot of. The pen posts well, should you wish, and there is like a little extension and aspect to the pen which allows you to flushly post your pen. Okay, so one aspect I really want to highlight is the comfort of the pen. You see, the section really fits the hand like a glove, and consequently it makes writing and drawing with this pen a dream. The clip functions well and has no issues with thicker materials or shirt pockets. And lastly, I have to say that the weight of the pen is just spot on. It's not too light, it's not too heavy, and you can certainly tell that you've got a genuine acrylic which is being turned on a lathe as opposed to an injection molded pen. So you do get an element of comfort, weight and feel. Right, so we're now going to have a look at the design of this pen. Okay, so on to the fun part. This pen is stonkingly gorgeous. I could simply leave this review right here, but I fear that this would make this review a little bit too pretentious. The name is taken from the Blue Grotto in Capri and emulates the beautiful glowing waters of the grotto. And as one rotates the pen, you'll understand why the pen was birthed with such a name. The marbling and shimmering natures of the pen are really breathtaking, and I love how varied the blues look. The pen is married up with ruthenium trim, which on first inspection makes you think, well, that makes the pen seem a little bit too dark, but this is a conscious decision of Gioia. You see, the ruthenium elements really emulate that of the caves and really connects the pen's various colours together, especially when you look at the actual roof or the cavern tops of the grotto, and you'll understand why. Proportionally, the trim is set out rather well. As one glances up and down the pen, each part of the pen looks fantastic. I appreciate the use of rings on the pen, and it really is a design element that I particularly enjoy. Interestingly, at the end of the pen, as mentioned before, where one would usually post the pen bevels in quite a bit. This may not be to some people's taste, but it does mean that the pen's barrel and cap will remain flush, as well as allow you to post the pen. The clip is beautiful and has a refreshing design. Whilst it does give off Italian vibes, it's not the usual rollable clip that one might usually associate with other pen manufacturers. Of course, there's nothing wrong with having a roller clip. In fact, actually I love them, but I feel sometimes it's just nice to be able to explore other options. Overall, this pen is very handsome, and certainly when one takes the price into consideration, this is a very affordable way into Italian pens, and I have to say that the beauty aspects of this really go a long way to cementing my thoughts and opinions. Okay, so we're now going to have a very quick and brief look at the writing and drawing experience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so this time we do actually have a pen which we can write and draw with. This section will be very brief, just because I've explored Boccanievo nibs numerous times in the past, but I will say this: writing and drawing with this pen is to be expected, and as such it's pleasant, smooth, and there is a hint of feedback. And this is part and thanks to the actual wonderful balance of the pen. It is honestly a joy to hold. Okay, so nib options are pretty wide, ranging from extra fine up to 1.5 stub, which is quite wonderful, to be honest. There's not a huge amount of manufacturers which offer stub nibs these days, and it's always nice to see when they actually do offer these, as I feel that they do offer a little bit more characteristic to the actual lineup. So drawing in reverse is possible, but it is a little scratchy. And in regards to any characteristics, I'm afraid there's not too much to be had here. It's pretty stiff, to be honest. So yeah, unfortunately that's it for the writing and drawing section. So let's now move on to the customer service before we quickly wrap up today's video. Now, when a pen doesn't work, I do like to try and give a company a chance to redeem themselves, and both Alex from Grand Vision Pens and Gioia have been a joy to work with. In fact, joy actually translates to Gioia in Italian, which I feel is quite fitting for the actual customer service. Both parties were apologetic in regards to the initial pen not working, and both have been very communicative in terms of actually trying to get a pen back to me. Although it has taken several months, we have had to deal with a pandemic. Anyway, we have got there at last, so thank you to Gioia and thank you to Grand Vision Pens for your fantastic customer service. So I just want to reiterate that I have had a fantastic time with them. Okay, so let's now move on to my final thoughts. Well, what can I say? This pen is fantastic. Value for money. £135 gets you quite a lot of pen. There is only one issue I had with this pen, and that is with the nib being friction fitted. You see, when you have a piston filled pen, having the ability to remove the nib and feed in an easy manner, it does make for a fantastic cleaning experience. But in regards to this pen, unfortunately, being friction fitted, it can make it a little bit more troublesome. And therefore I would limit the type of ink that I would put into it. Think sheening and shimmering inks. So if I was only to change one thing on this pen, it would be that, and it would be to put a housing into the pen. I don't mind it being Boku Yovo, to be honest, certainly not at £135, but having ease of access to the actual barrel for efficient flashing out, to me is really important, especially on a piston filled pen. Overall, I do love this pen, and as mentioned before, the price point is exceptional. Leonardo offer a piston filled pen for sub £200, and I think it goes for around about £180, but this retails for £135, so therefore it does go quite a long way in terms of lowering the costs. Okay, so who would I recommend this pen to? Well, simply to anyone who wants to try an Italian made pen. It is a real joia to use, and as such, I think anyone who tries this pen will instantly fall in love with it. As mentioned before, Gioia do have quite a lot of choice in their range, and there's certainly some other finishes which I would like to try at some point. But anyway, that is it for today's review. The only thing I've got left to say is thank you for watching, and stay safe, and goodbye for now.